I am Lovely Cesarita. I am criminology student, and for today, I'm going to make a video about topic related contemporary world. Before that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification table para maging updated kayo sa mga video gagawin ko. Today, our discussion is all about global food security and sustainable development. So, I'm going to introduce to you the content of our discussion. So, the content of our discussion will begin in defining the global food security, then definition of sustainable development, definition of sustainability and its three pillars, then production of resources, discoveries and innovation of resources. Then we are going to define what is oceanic, then types of natural resources, aspect of global security and sustainable development goals. Okay, so that's all our content for this discussion. Okay, first let's discuss what global food security is. So according to the screen or to the PowerPoint, global food security, it exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an effective and healthy life. So, global food security is all about securing that people meet their needs in order to live an active and healthy life without exceeding or consuming the reserve resources for the next generations. So, we all know that global food security is one of the most priority of all countries, whether they are developed or non-developed country. Security is not all about securing that people meet their needs in terms of food, but it also means the sustainability of society, such as in population growth, climate change, water scarcity, and agriculture. So there are many aspects that is related to global food security. It's not just all about food. Okay? What is sustainable development? When we say sustainable development, it is the idea that human societies must live and meet their needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, it is according to Shah on 2008. So, it only means that sustainable development, it is when people can provide for their needs from resources in a present but without using or destroying resources that is for the next generation. Next is the term sustainability. So what is sustainability? When we say sustainability, it is ability of something to maintain itself. It is a capacity to endure or continue. So it means that sustainability in our topic, sustainability is a concept that refers on using resources rationally and protect it. And of course, it is not only for the benefits of human or for the good of human, but it is also about the good of earth, our environment, and all living things. Sustainability have three pillars. We have social equity, economic viability, and environmental protection. First, let's discuss what social equity is as the pillars of sustainability. First, it aims to preserve social capital by investing and creating services that constitute the framework of our society. So, social equity simply refers to the actions of society to protect, to maintain and restore access of all citizens to basic resources such as food and energy. Let's move on to the economic viability. When we say economic viability, it aims to maintain the capital intact. So, economic viability, it only means that if the economy of the certain country is okay, it means that their sustainable development is doing good in different aspects. As what I said ago, global security is not all about securing people to have food, but it is all about in different aspects. So, the term global security is so huge. Let's move on to the production of resources. In our PowerPoint, production of resources, natural resources provides economic with raw materials that are turned into goods via process of production. Environment also provides direct service to the consumer. Example, fuel, fishery, and forest. So, in this slide, it only means that the productions of resources or the raw materials that we have been using now is all from our environment. So, as what in the screen said, the example is fuel, fishery, forest that we all know that we can get from our environment. So, it is really beneficial. Our environment is the resources of our necessity. Let's move on to the discoveries and innovations. Here in the slide, utilization of energy, new technology discoveries, transportation, advancement, efficiency in communication, water. So, as we are in 20th century, we all know that we are advanced in many technology because of the discoveries of many individuals, especially those who are in the science. In this topic, or in the case of our topic, utilization of energy, we have many ways to utilize our energy. For example, year ago or 100 years ago, we use fuel for energy consumption. But for today, because of the discoveries and innovations, we are now using nuclear power to consume energy. Next is new technology discoveries. So, in the case of maintaining our sustainability or on our environment, we have now many technology that can help to maintain the sustainability of our resources. For example, hydrogen energy storage and thermal energy collectors. So, in discoveries and innovations, we have also transportation advancement and efficiency in communication water. On to the term oceanic. When we say oceanic, it refers to the responsible use of resources, a term that differs in its stability in an economic sense, wherein it involves preserving of resources and energy over the long term rather than producing it quickly just to meet the short-term goals. So when we say oceanic, it is when we use our resources in a responsible way. So we are wasting it just to provide our needs for today, but also we are maintaining or preserving our resources not just for us, not just for the present, but also for the future or for the next generations. Let's move on to the renewable resources. So we have two types of resources, which are renewable resources and non-renewable resources. First, renewable resources. Renewable resources can be replaced at the same rate in which the resources is used. So, for the example of this is solar panel. When we say non-renewable resources that forms at a rate that is much slower than the rate that is consumed. What is the difference of renewable and non-renewable resources? So when we say renewable resources, it is the resources that can be used repeatedly and it does not run because it is naturally replaced. When we say non-renewable resources, it is natural resources, but unlike renewable resources, it cannot be readily replaced by natural means at a quick pace enough to keep with consumption. So that is the difference of renewable and non-renewable resources. As of today, we are not just using renewable resources, which is trend today, but some big company or us are still using non-renewable resources. Why? Okay, let me tell you the factors on why we're still using primarily non-renewable resources. First factors on why we're still using non-renewable resources is its lower cost. Fossil fuel dominate the global power supply because until very recently, electricity from fossil fuel was far cheaper than electricity from renewable. So how is that? How non-renewable resources is cheaper than renewable resources? It is because as the demand of the electricity increasing, it means that the resources of electricity from renewable resources is limited. Unlike the electricity from fossil fuels that is naturally can be replaced. So that is why we still using renewable resources. Next is infrastructure. Over 70% of the energy used in industrial processes comes from non-renewable resources. So it says that many infrastructure here, of course in the Philippines, are still using non-renewable resources because it helps in the industrial processes. Next is readily poor needs. Most sources of non-renewable energy are fossil fuels such as coal, gas, and oil. These natural resources are a major source of power for a vast amount of industries. We're still using fossil fuels because it is the main or major source of our power that is our necessity. Okay? Next, let's move on to the aspect of global food security. So first aspect of global food security is society. It includes social justice, political accountability, and participation. In global food security, we need the participation of society because without it, there's no motivations or there's no cause or there's no reason why they are securing food for all generations. Okay, next is political accountability. So it only says that our authority must be responsible or must be accountable in their position. Next is economy. It must be able to produce goods and services on a continuing basis. Economic security when unemployed, disabled, or otherwise unable to secure a livelihood. So, global, as what I said a while ago, that global food security is not just about related to food, but it is also related to another aspect. So, here is economy, must be able to produce goods and services. So, if the economy are able to produce goods and services, so it will benefit the many people. Environment. Human negligence, now considered a possible world threat to humankind, must maintain a stable resource base, avoiding exploitation of renewable resource systems and depleting non-renewable resources. So, if I'm not mistaken, we are all familiar about the organizations or agencies that have same goals, which is to maintain or to protect our environment, because environment is, as what I said earlier, that it is the main source of our resources. It is the main reason why we are able to produce or we're able to meet our needs. At last, let's move on to the goals of global sustainable. So the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet. Now and into the future, at its heart are Sustainable Development Goals, which are an urgent call for action by all countries developed and developing in a global partnership. So here we have the 17 Global Sustainable Development. So as you can see in this screen, okay, I will read it. First is no poverty. Second, zero hunger. Good health and well-being production. Quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth goal, industry, innovations and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable citizen communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institution, partnerships to achieve the goal. So, these are the goals of sustainable development. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.